Good morning, everyone. I'm Yudhitari Mayor, country representative of Euraccess Japan. I would like to welcome our audience today in the webinar Aspire and Horizon Europe, Japan and EU Collaboration. The main focus of this webinar is to highlight successful collaborative projects between Aspire in Japan and Horizon Europe in the European Union. The projects are introduced by the Japanese and European contributors who will not only provide best practice examples for international research, but also answer questions live later. I will be introducing our esteemed speakers as they are scheduled, so please bear with us for a moment. And to start off the webinar, I would like to invite our first speaker, Atsushi Arakawa, Director at the Office of Aspire, Department of International Affairs, Japan Science and Technology Agency, to deliver his opening remarks. Arakawa-san, please go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon to the participants from Japan, and good morning to those joining from Europe. I'm delighted to see so many attendees here today. So my name is, as introduced, Atsushi Arakawa, and I'm responsible for promoting Aspire at JST. I took on this role in this January of this year. At the beginning of my talk, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the European Commission and Euraccess for their significant contribution to Japan-Europe research collaboration and for organizing this webinar focused on our program, Aspire. On a personal note, I served as the director of JST's Paris office about 15 years ago, acting as a liaison with European countries. It is truly an honor to once again contribute to Japan-Europe collaboration through the meaningful Aspire program. Aspire is a relatively new program launched 2 years ago, designed to connect top researchers from Japan with those in its designated partner countries. So I'll share slide. Yes, partner country and region shown here. It aims to promote brain circulation and research collaboration in strategically important fields shown left side, providing up to 5 million Japanese yen. So it's over 3 million euros approximately in funding over 5 years. Later, my colleague from JST will introduce more detailed information of Aspire, but there is one key point I would like to emphasize here. Aspire is not just about a joint research program. It is even more focused on talent mobility and expanding international networks. As a reflection of this commitment, we require that more than 70% of direct costs allocated to Japanese researchers be used for activities that support talent mobility and expansion of international networks. Some may find this percentage surprising, but this reflects Japan and JST's strong sense of urgency. We believe it is crucial to foster the next generation of research leaders who can make an impact in the global scientific community through researcher mobility and brain circulation. Aspire offers 2 types of calls, alignment calls and joint calls. The majority of funded projects, 78 out of 88, were selected through the alignment call shown left side. In the alignment call, JST funds only the Japanese researchers. Partner researchers are expected to secure funding from their respective funding agencies in Aspire designated partner countries or European Commission programs such as Horizon Europe. While JST fund only researchers based in Japan, we strongly encourage mobility in both directions, sending Japanese researchers abroad and inviting counterpart researchers to Japan to accelerate collaboration. In fact, just yesterday, we launched the 3rd alignment call, which is open for proposals until May 12th. If you are a researcher based in Europe and collaborating with a research partner in Japan, I encourage you to discuss the possibility of applying. And please remember, Aspire is a program that prioritizes talent mobility and expansion of international networks. Regarding the joint calls with European countries, we currently open a joint call with the UK's EPSRC in the field of quantum and AI information. Additionally, in April, we are planning to launch a joint call with the Netherlands, NWO, in the field of semiconductors and quantum. Researchers conducting studies in these countries, as well as those based in Japan, collaborating with researchers from these countries, are encouraged to consider applying. In a later session, we will hear from 4 Aspire projects that are actively collaborating with European countries. Even though the first Aspire project started in 2023 have been running for just 1 year, we are already seeing notable progress. It is highly valuable and exciting to hear from both Japanese researchers and their counterparts about how outstanding research is progressing through Japan-Europe collaboration, as well as the challenges they are facing. I'm also very much looking forward to hearing real and first-hand stories. Okay, that concludes my remarks. I now hand it back to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the valuable comments and the opening remarks. And let me just say that this webinar is a collaboration between the Japan Science and Technology Agency and EUROXAST Japan. And we feature Horizon Europe funding opportunities besides Aspire, which is a program that has helped researchers in Japan to achieve their potential. The next speaker is, well, speakers actually, Maria Leptin, President of the European Research Council, Leonie Nagarajan and Tatas Brotasudarmo, who are EUROXAST ASEAN country representatives, and myself in a video interview that we conducted with Professor Leptin in Singapore a few weeks ago, with the special purpose of sending you a message here in this webinar.
The key takeaway was that everybody found it very easy to agree that what we call frontier research, but you could also call basic research, the wording, or blue sky research, the wording is not so important. What is important is that it's curiosity-driven research, driven by the ideas of the researchers themselves, that is important, and that our culture needs it, our wealth needs it, our countries need it. So that was one thing that I think it was interesting to see how much agreement there was on that, and how many good examples there were. And the other thing that I found interesting to hear that I don't hear so often is the agreement that research is special in the sense that it requires passion and commitment and patience and frustration tolerance. And again, there were a number of examples for that. And so I think those are the 2 big things I could think of immediately. But as you remember, there were lots of interesting points.
Thank you so much. May I ask you, again, you mentioned there is a German term for research, Wissenschaft, which has a slight different connotation. Maybe you can elaborate on this?
Yes, so very often when we very often talk about science, and we have to, really science is more or less natural science, science of history. So it covers a good part of the spectrum of academic research or things where people follow their curiosity, but it doesn't cover the whole spectrum. And in the German languages, we have the term Wissenschaft, which means the dealing with knowledge. So, and the ERC, of course, funds all areas of knowledge, including history and art and philosophy and archaeology, whatever. And I think that's very important, that we don't forget that if we're talking about curiosity, we're curious about everything, and it's worth looking into everything.
Thank you. Mr. Damo?
Thank you very much. So I'm interested in research and economic growth. So investment in research and innovations are never needed to boost this productivity and growth. The European economy requires urgent actions to tackle the increasing gap with some other countries in terms of economic growth. So what would be needed to change this trajectory?
Well, growth and wealth actually depends on innovation. This has been known forever. So it's known in farming. Farming got more productive when the plow was invented. Industry got more productive in the Industrial Revolution, which was based entirely on technological advance. So that part, that's the end part. Now, where does technological advance come from? It comes from manipulating the way the world works. And in order to manipulate the way the world works, we have to know and understand how to work. So we need new knowledge in order to have new technology. And we need new technology. And that can be seen in a very broad sense. We need new knowledge to drive that. So I think there's so many examples. They're very clear. Pipeline from knowledge generation for reasons that nobody's thinking about what might come out in the end. Important stuff coming out. Money, wealth, and health and well-being coming out. Yeah. So it's for me it's a no-brainer.
Thanks so much for connecting this important connections between science and also the growth of wealth. I would like to hand over to my colleague from your history.
Thank you. My next question is about a recent report that came out. And according to that, ERC researchers who patented their work, 44% want to commercialize their research in such a way. So how would you elaborate on the academic industry connection and commercializing research?
Yeah. So first of all, that is, of course, a very stark example of what I just said in response to your question. The ERC selects research proposals exclusively on the basis of excellence. No sort of top-down decisions of it being useful. Is it interesting? Is it novel? Is it likely to generate exciting new knowledge? And out of that, and like I said, we use our industry and stuff like that. So 44% of that, as you say, generates knowledge that end up in patents, although it wasn't chosen. What better demonstration can you have that if you fund bright ideas, something will come out that was not part of the initial aim? And then some 400 or even more researchers have actually gone and started startups. So the evidence is there. Give clever people, clever, enthusiastic, committed people, the means to follow their ideas. They will do stuff that ends up being useful to society, even though you didn't initially select.
Yeah, I think the keywords are useful for society. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Next question, I think again comes from
This afternoon, we heard about the recognitions of frontier research. Currently, we often rely on quantitative metrics like citation counts, publication numbers, and so on. So, in your opinion, what strategies we can implement to incorporate more qualitative aspect into this evaluation process?
So, of course, quantitative metrics are nice and easy. You can measure and you can count. The trouble is, you often measure and count the wrong thing. So what we've done at the ERC is we've looked at how we assess people and we've changed that completely. So for one thing, we asked the researchers, we of course have to judge whether the researcher is capable of carrying out the research they propose. So we have to have some kind of record of what they've done. And we asked them to list 10 items. And that item we don't define further. In some fields, that'll be a scientific application. In my field, biology, but in others, it may be a code they've developed, or it may be a database they've generated, or it may be an expedition they've run, which, discovered new things. So we allow them to say what they think has been important for them to drive the field forward. And then we asked them for a short narrative for each one, saying, what is it? Why do you list that one? What is it that drove the field forward from your research? So that goes away from metrics, and it also actually makes it easy for the panel to see what these people have achieved. So it's not easy, but assessing good people isn't easy. It takes an effort, and so we hope that our panel members can take that effort.
Yeah, I think the last question here is again from you. So the ERC has different grant schemes for researchers at various stages of their career. The recent proof of contact research scheme had 134 researchers who received the grant, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, how would you, what kind of advice would you give to scientists who want to turn their science into practice? And what's the importance of it?
So, for one thing, the proof of concept is independent of career stage and see applications from all career stages, which is great. So they're original and sort of innovation-minded people at all career stages. The idea is to go and try it. And what this proof of concept grant does is it allows these people to explore whether the idea that they have, where they think it might be exploitable, to explore for a year, to ask experts to, do proof of concept studies. That's in itself a good thing. But it also qualifies them to go to the European Innovation Council. And the European Innovation Council is intended exactly to take ideas all the way to the market, up to where they get venture capital. And they have a little Pathfinder, and then they have a transition grant. And our POC recipient grantees can go straight to the recipient to the transition grant, where they really get a lot of help in converting their idea into a marketable thing, which hopefully eventually attract venture capital. So again, it's a very nice pipeline, and the EU and EU funding helps researchers along each step. I think it's a fantastic system, and those two funding schemes really help each other very much. Thank you, Euraxis, for being here and for co-organizing this event. Always great to talk to you, and I think you do wonderful work. I'm very pleased to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And with that, I would like to thank Professor Lapton for her contribution. Our next speaker in the webinar is my colleague Kenta Takei, who is officer at the Department of International Affairs at the Japan Science and Technology Agency. The title of his presentation is Aspire Introduction and JST's Cooperation with Horizon Europe. Let me just say that this webinar would not have been possible without Kenta Takei's very instrumental contribution and my heartfelt gratitude to him for organizing this event. Please go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. Again, I'd like to thank you for your continued support for JST. Likewise, if we were not for you, this webinar and all the collaborations would be impossible. And I would like to thank all the speakers here and their collaborators for joining us today. Thank you for your time. So this is an introduction to Aspire and its potential collaboration with your Horizon Europe. But for those of you who don't know about JST and what we do and who we are, I'd like to give you a brief introduction to JST before getting into the detail of Aspire program. So what is JST? JST in a nutshell is Japan's research and development funding agency. We play one of the central roles in the implementation of science, technology, and innovation basic plan of the Japanese government. By research funding, we connect a wide range of stakeholders and drive innovation for the global society. So this is the rough structure for the administration for the promotion of STI in Japan. The overall direction and the strategy is formulated by the Council for Science, Technology, and Innovation called CSTI, that is within the Cabinet Office. And this is one level above other ministries implementing the strategy. One of the major ministries that is responsible for the implementation of this strategy is the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, or MEXT in short. And JST is one of the funding agencies that is under this ministry. So, but we are not the only funding agency in Japan. This slide shows several other funding agencies in Japan. So, high on the vertical means that you are top-down mission-oriented funding agency. So, for example, at the bottom, we have the only curiosity-driven and bottom-up funding agency called JSPS, which is also famous for operating the largest research grant called Kakenhi, which allows researchers to propose their own research proposals free of government-mandated themes. In this slide, we have three top-down funding agencies, AMET, JST, and NEDO. NEDO is on the right side, so it is more applied research funder. NEDO is actually under the Ministry of Economy, Trade, Industry, and they support researchers for commercial downstream and industrial application. And AMET funds medical research. Actually, JST does not fund any medical research. It is entirely handled by AMET. And JST is kind of located at the center of this map, indicating that we fund researchers from basic research to the first phase of application. So out of 240 billion Japanese yen, more than 3/4 of the budget goes to the research funding. But this slide is just to show you that we have some of the functions such as information platform service, public engagement, and R&D strategy planning function. I would like to get into the detail of research funding that we operate in JST. So broadly, the research funding programs that we operate is categorized into three types: strategic basic research, international collaboration, and industry academia collaboration programs. What you can see is the very rich variety of funding programs, each aligned with Japan's specific objective for the implementation of STI basic plan. Today, I would like to talk about Aspire in detail. So before getting to that, I would like to give you a background of Aspire program. In sixth Science, Technology, Innovation Basic Plan, it is specified that through strategic promotion of international joint research and exchange of students, the government will build an international research network with Japan and other countries and attract excellent human resources from around the world. And also in G7 Hiroshima Leaders Communique that was held in May 2023, research leaders agreed on the importance of the promotion of international talent mobility and circulation. In line with these momentums, Aspire aims to build a network among world's top research talents by promoting Japan's participation in an international research community and nurturing and mobilizing future research leaders. So how do we exactly create the virtuous cycle of talent mobility? In Aspire, just like other funding programs in Japan and in other countries, joint research are conducted by Japan team and their partner team. What we ask researchers in Aspire is that we ask them to send their early care researchers to their partner team. And in the same manner, early care researchers in their partner country are encouraged to be invited to Japan, yielding this circulation of young talents. Aspire program comes in two types of call. One is alignment call, or what we call the call for Japan-based researchers. The next one is joint call. In alignment call, we fund researchers in Japan who are collaborating with their counterpart researchers who have been receiving some amount of funding from their counterpart funding agency. It can be private or public funding agency. There is no criteria for that. So JST fund Japan side researchers and with Japan side researchers only. But through mobility actions for talent circulation, counterpart researchers can benefit a lot from this program as well. In joint call, JST coordinates with counterpart funding agency the specific timing of the call, the budget scale or research area, and simultaneously open the call so that researchers in Japan and their counterpart country can apply to their to the funding programs to get the funding at the same time. As Mr. Arakawa in the opening remark mentioned, the new call for Aspire alignment call opened just yesterday, so I'd like to talk about in detail. So alignment call comes in two categories. One is Aspire for top scientists, for researchers conducting internationally top-level research, and Aspire for rising scientists, for researchers who are expected to become research leaders in Japan in the future. Research fields include these 7 broad themes: AI, information, biotech, energy, materials, quantum, semiconductor, and telecommunications. And I would like to note here that proposals in the field of advanced materials are also welcome in line with EU-Japan dialogue on advanced materials. Partner countries are set by the Japanese government, and they include scientifically advanced countries and region. The support scale for Japan side is very big compared to other funding programs that we conducted in JST for the international collaboration. Okay, so finally, I'd like to talk about the major requirements for the proposal of alignment call. The first one is the researcher exchange. In Aspire, early care researchers must travel to the partner country and conduct research there for an extended period. It can be 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. We want early care researchers to stay at the partner country and gain experience there. And researchers from the partner country must also be invited and included in the Japan side research team. And the next one is the use of Aspire funds. We ask researchers to allocate 70%, as many as 70% of their direct expense to the research mobility action and fostering talent, fostering the early care researchers. So it includes the budget for traveling, and it can include the cost for holding workshops and symposium for international connections, or it can be used for hiring experts for the coordination of travel and international events. So as mentioned several times in this webinar already, the alignment call, the third alignment call has opened just yesterday. So you have got here at the just right timing. The application deadline is May 12, 2025. And I would also like to share that several joint calls are open in parallel. So we are collaborating with UK's EPSRC, and we are waiting for applications on quantum technologies for innovation and also advanced human-centered AI. In spring 2025, we will also open Japan-Netherlands joint call for collaborations in semiconductor and quantum, and we partner with NWO in Netherlands. So stay tuned for the latest information. And again, I would like to thank Euraccess Japan and also all the presenters funded in Aspire program. We actually have 2 projects from Aspire for top scientists and 2 projects for the Aspire for rising scientists. I am very much looking forward to what kind of hearing what kind of international talent mobility actions are being rendered possible because of Aspire program. Thank you so much. That's all from myself.
Thank you very much for the introduction of the Aspire program and GSD cooperation with Horizon Europe. We'll proceed with yet another presentation about Horizon Europe, an overview of opportunities by Fumiko Oda, the National Contact Point for Horizon Europe at the EU-Japan Center for Industrial Cooperation.
I'm National Contact Point for Horizon Europe in Japan, based in EU-Japan Center for Industrial Cooperation. Here I'm going to start with my presentation. Here you go. Horizon Europe is a funding program for research and innovation with a budget of 95.5 billion over 7 years, starting in 2021. And the program is divided into 3 different pillars. First is the excellent science, including a European Research Council, Marie Curie program, and research infrastructures. And the pillar 2 is global challenges and European industrial competitiveness, with the 6 different blocks of research areas, with each of them having a focusing area and the topics underneath. And the pillar 3, the innovative Europe, which will include the researchers with the higher technological readiness level and scaling up of startups in EU. And the funding for a Japanese entity is limited to affiliated companies in EU member state or associated countries and third countries with low income. And basically, if you are currently based in Japan and trying to participate from Japan, the project will not be funded automatically, and you will have to prepare your own financial source. Or some of the call has exceptional funding systems, so you might be able to apply to those calls or to apply to funding program based in Japan. There is not much funds for the industries, but if you are academic research institutions, you might find some mechanism that you might be able to use. And just to note that if Japan becomes associated to Horizon Europe Pillar 2, and if researchers are trying to participate to the Pillar 2, you'll be funded fully, just like EU member states or associate countries currently receiving funds. I'd like to start first with Excellent Science overview. Excellent Science has 3 different programs included. One is the European Research Council that supports the top research projects led by top researchers. And for participating to these fellowships as a fellow, from if you're in Japanese, those costs are funded by Horizon Europe because you'll be based in the research institutions in Europe or associated countries. And for the ERC, there's also collaborating co-funded projects, probably calls with the JST or MED or JSPS, for example, to collaborate with currently running program in ERC. And the second block is of the Pillar 2. Pillar 1 is the Marie Curie programs, which funds the researcher mobilities and training. Will focus on the researchers training and at a different level. And again, the fellowship cost for the doctoral networks, the postdoctoral fellowship or co-fund fellowships, they'll be all funded for fellows who will be based in European or associated countries. And only for the staff exchange program, which might need a matching fund because Japanese researchers will be based in Japan, going to exchange with European researchers. And in that case, all the travel costs and the other costs will be covered by matching fund or you using your own funds. And finally, find the major research infrastructures that will facilitate access to world-class research facilities for European researchers and promote collaborations. And in this sector of the Pillar 1 might have calls with exceptional funds available for third countries. So you might be interested in those calls. And for the Pillar 2, has 6 different clusters with different focusing areas you might be interested in. Again, basic condition applies currently because Japan is not associated to Pillar 2 right now. It's still under the negotiation, and until the negotiation closes successfully, you'll have to participate with your own cost. And there's no specific matching fund just for focusing on this Pillar 2 specific topics. So, but Horizon Europe does not limit which matching fund you will use to participate to these calls. So you're free to use any funding mechanism that is available in Japan. And for some of the calls, again, like research infrastructure calls, there will be exceptional funds available for some of the topics. So you might, if you find those topics, you might be able to participate with funds from Horizon Europe. Finally, the Innovative Europe as a third pillar, focusing on fostering innovation through support for startups, SMEs, and cutting-edge technology of EU. And the main part is the European Innovation Council, which supports the breakthrough technology, deep tech, and the scale-up of the startups at different level here. And if you are Japanese participants, you might be able to participate to a Pathfinder or Accelerator as a partners. But again, as a basic rule applies, and you are not funded directly in these calls. So that's it for an overview of the different programs. Just to reference you to find how to find calls, please go to the funding and tender portals for Horizon Europe and look for reference documents there. And you'll find under work program, different set of work programs for different clusters in Pillar 2 or each programs in the Pillar 1 and 3. And if you find these topics, you will be able to find on the same funding and tender portals a submission page for each topic. And there you will find all the information. And if you need any assistance for knowing more programs about and how to participate, please go to our website and ask us any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for the very extensive and very thorough presentation on Horizon Europe. We are going to proceed with the projects that have collaborative features and the main focus of our webinar. The first project is an energy project titled Manufacturing of Ion Conducting Membrane Applied for Novel Intermediate Temperature Electrolyzer for Carbon Neutral Society. And our speakers are Tatsumi Ishihara, professor at the International Institute for Carbon Neutral Energy Research, Kyushu University. Wilhelm Meulenberg, head of the department, Institute of Energy Materials and Devices, number 2, Forschungszentrum Jülich GmbH, and Stephen Skinner at Ceres RA Research Chair and Professor of Materials Chemistry, Imperial College London. These latter projects, conducted by Professor Meulenberg and Skinner, were funded by the Helmholtz funding and Horizon 2020, besides UKRI. Please proceed with your presentation. A very warm welcome to you all.
Thank you very much for introduction. My name is Tatsumi Ishihara from Kyushu University. Today, I don't know reasons, but my camera cannot open, so I'm sorry to allow me not to use the camera. And as introduced, this is supported by Aspire from JST, and we are in the team-to-team project. And sorry. And this is the title of as introduced, and this is the team member. The principally this is team to team. So Japanese team is Kyushu University, Kumamoto University, and Institute of Science Tokyo. Institute of Science Tokyo, previous the Tokyo Institute of Technology. And foreign partner is Imperial College London and Urich Research Center and University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. And objective of this study is shown here. And as I mentioned, establishing a carbon neutral society by 2050 is one of the most important issues in the field of the energies. And at the moment, renewable energy want to use for reducing of the CO2 emissions. However, just renewable energy is not enough because of the low energy density and highly variable. So the storage of this large size of the renewable energy is strongly required. And considering for energy size, not battery is not enough, and more effective use is to use hydrogen as energy carriers. But in order to this, we need to develop to some of the more reasonable method to production of hydrogen with reasonable price. Therefore, we focus on the high temperature electrolyzer in order to obtain to the hydrogen with a reasonable price. And also, high temperature electrolyzer can also apply for the CO2 reductions. And this is thermodynamics of the high temperature electrolysis. And this is also the thermodynamics of the CO2 electrolysis. And sorry to some part is Japanese, but this is T delta S. And since this value is positive with increasing temperature, the delta G, which is required electricity, can decrease. Therefore, high temperature electrolyzer is highly promising for obtained of the green hydrogen or green CO by using to the saved amount of the electricity. And in order to this, we need to develop the highly efficient high temperature electrolyzer. And for the case of high temperature electrolyzer, there's a two types exist. One is the oxide ion, the other is proton conductor. And this is a comparison of the conductivity of the oxide ion and proton conductor. And as you can see here, this is lanthanum gallate, which shows to the very similar conductivity with that of the proton conductor of barium zirconate cerium yttrium oxide, we call BZCY. Therefore, we focus on these two, and principal idea is to the combined with these two electrolyzers. And this is a previous result before to this project. We developed to the highly efficient and highly large current density of the intermediate temperature electrolyzer using to the LSGM. And you see that to the quite nice, the current density is achieved even at 500 degrees Celsius. However, the degradation is a serious issue. This comes from the reoxidation of the nickel anode, nickel cathode, sorry. And this is oxide proton conducting cell. Oxide ion conducting cell is also quite nice property around to the similar temperature range, but this also shows to the decrease in the transport number because of the hole conductions. Therefore, in this project, we targeted to develop to the new concept of the materials and cell structure. And in order to this, we combine to the oxide ion and proton conductor like this way. And then we can prevent nickel reoxidation and prevent electron leakage by controlling of the oxygen partial pressure in the pumping rooms. And also high steam utilization is possible by recycling of the steams. Therefore, there's a several good advantage is obtained by this combination of the cell we call ideal cell. But up to now, no demonstration of this type of the cell. Therefore, this is the main subject. And this is the role of the each member. And as you can see here, the Imperial College is mainly developed to the new electrode materials. And Urich research teams is focused on making to the thin film of the proton conductor. And Professor Yashima in the TIT Science Tokyo is developed the new oxide and proton conductor, and Professor Ida also developed to the high photonic 2D dimensional 2D dimensional proton conductors. And therefore, object of this research is on the solid oxide cell for energy storage and effectively use. And we want to establish to the international visible hub for solid state ions. And in this project, it consists of the three subjects. Subject 1 is developed to the new oxide ion and oxide ion conducting cells. And in order to this, we developed to the some of the new materials. And if you see this material shows quite high conductivity at reasonably low temperatures. And in these materials, since the anion site is consist of the oxide and chloride, therefore the chloride form to the some layered structure, therefore oxide conducting in 2D dimensions. And also we developed to the realistic thin film oxide ion conducting cell by using to the new conventional method. And the subject 2 is developed to the new proton conductor and also make to the thin films. And this is one case of the Professor Yashima's groups. They developed to the barium scandate doped with molybdenum, which shows the quite high proton conductivity at decreased temperature. And also Professor Ida's team already developed to this two-layered proton conducting material, which shows to the much higher than that of the conventional oxide proton conductors. But in realistic, we need to make to the thin film of the BZCY. This is a conventional oxide proton conductor and applied for the new highly efficient conducting cell. And the subject 3 is make to the such kind of the ideal cell, and the proof of concept is planning. And this is the achievement in this 2024 financial years. We started to the 2023 and 2023 and 2024 is in fact is the first year. Therefore, you see that we already sent to the several our young member like Wati in the UNIHI for 10 months and Dr. Song in the Imperial College for 10 months and Dr. Soban in the UNIHI for several months. And also we are planning to send to the some of the younger society to attend to the international conference. And this is planned at 2025. And we're planning to the several PhD students to stay in the Imperial College, UNIHI, and University of Illinois to conducting of their each roles. And also little bit long period, we are planning to the other member to stay a little bit longer. And this is a photograph of their activities, and Tomisaki in the University of Illinois, and Kansoban is in the UNIHI, and Kuwati stay in Quetron. And this is our summer school, and we invited several of our group member and Science Tokyo's member and Kumamoto University's master course student, and encourage them to promote it, join to the PhD course. And according to this activity, some of the Japanese master course students has an interest to study abroad. And this is some of the scientific result of my teams. And we make to this kind of the thin film of the BZCY thickness is less than 10 micrometer. And we can achieve to the quite nice electrolysis performance by using to this thin film electrolyte. So thank you very much for your kind attention. And this is the introduction from the team leader and Professor Skinner and Professor Billy. If you have some comment, please add to following me.
Yeah, I don't have a presentation, but what I want to mention is that we made such more progress in the last 2 months. So we are able now also to make cells of 10 by 10 square centimeter gas tight and also dense and flat. Kwati Leonard was a long time here, and it was very successful. And I guess not a lot of groups has such large cells manufactured by the proton conductors. The main challenge is the high firing temperature. That is always a big problem, especially for bending. And I guess we solved now this problem here in our joint project. So that is a quite big success, I guess.
Thank you very much, Billy. And Steve, can you?
Essentially, we were delighted to be participating with this team project with the JST. And as Tatsumi says, we've been hosting a few visitors from the project over the last year, including Dr. Song, who's with us currently. We have a range of capabilities, quite a large team at Imperial College. And as Tatsumi mentioned, we're looking at developing the materials and understanding the materials, which then feeds into the scale up and the manufacturing, as Willie has just mentioned. So we have a range of capabilities that we're building on here, and we have funding through the Horizon 2020 program with collaborators throughout the EU as well as having our UKRI funding. And we have, of course, some partnership, as was mentioned, with my collaboration with Ceres Power in the UK as a fuel cell manufacturer. So we have a lot of capability and experience to bring to the project. We're looking primarily at the fundamental properties of the materials, and we have a range of capabilities to test and characterize the transport properties that are relevant. So Tatsumi mentioned the oxide ion and the proton conduction, and we've been working with the Yashima group at Institute of Science Tokyo to look at protonic transport in these materials and really get understanding of the mechanistics of the transport properties. And also, traditionally, we've been looking at oxide ion transport in the materials, both electrolytes and electrodes, and in this project, focusing on those electrode materials. As well as all of those aspects of the capability that we have within the team at Imperial, we're also extending our reach out to the national facilities. So we're certainly users of facilities such as the Diamond Light Source in the UK, the ILL in Grenoble, and the ESRF, and we'll be looking at putting in some proposals there again to add to that capability to work with the leading proponents around these characterization techniques. And with our colleagues at the Institute of Science Tokyo, we've also done some work at the Super HRPD at J-Park in Japan as well. So it's a really very multinational, international collaboration. And we look forward to continuing that relationship and to hosting students from both IST and from Kyushu. And in the coming months, we will also have Professor Ida from Kumamoto coming to visit in London as well. So we're really keen to promote this activity, to continue this collaborative activity, and to make significant progress in this dual cell program.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Maybe I can add something to the question, which is to collaborations with industry. We was asked by a Dutch company to produce at least in the next 2 years 100 cells from 5 by 5 to 10 by 10 centimeter, and the idea is to build up a small stack and to show that the membranes work in also a stack environment and not only in single cell tests. You have to solve a lot of problems then, challenges, for example, sealing, which housing material you take, what is the design of such a stack, and this we will do together in the next years with some additional industrial partners.
Thank you very much, Rudy. We also are keen to collaborate with some private companies.
Yes.
Also, thank you very much to have the question from Kaori Sato-san. And that is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Would you like to add anything? Okay, then that concludes the introduction of this project. Thank you.
Maybe I want to add one more thing. We are now working at least a decade together with Kyushu University. And I guess it is quite important to have stable partnerships, which is longer than only a project period. And also with Imperial College, we have a lot of collaborations. So I guess that is very important, not to work only together in one project, that you have stable partnerships over a long period, because only then you can make sure that your technology is going later, maybe in an industrial scale to application. That is my opinion about this.
Yeah, I fully what we'll say. I mean, that's the long-standing collaboration is absolutely critical. And again, with the Imperial College, we've been working with the group in Kyushu for many years. I think with my colleague John Kilner since Tatsumi visited us in the mid-80s. So it really is a long-standing relationship, and that really is the added value here. And again, with the group at Tokyo, we've also been working with them for a good number of years. And so having that continual relationship and support is really absolutely vital.
Thank you very much. And with that, we would like to conclude the introduction of this energy project and proceed with the next presentation, which will introduce AI and Information project titled Building Mathematical Foundation for Cyber Physical Dynamical Systems, Interdisciplinary Research and Human Resource Development on Control with Prediction and Learning. This will be a video introduction by Professor Yoshio Ebihara. So please bear with me until I share the video. The professor is at the Faculty of Information Science and Electrical Engineering at Kyushu University. And the partner project was funded by ERC at the Eindhoven University of Technology.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yoshio Ebihara, and I'm from Kyushu University, Japan. Today, let me introduce our JST Aspire project, building a mathematical foundation for cyber physical dynamical systems, interdisciplinary research and human resource development on control with prediction and learning. Let me begin with what is Aspire. Aspire is an abbreviated form of a JST project adapting sustainable partnerships for innovative research ecosystem. And Aspire is a research support program designed to build a network among the world's top research talent, promote Japan's participation in the international top research community, and nurture and mobilize future research leaders. And this figure shows a category of Aspire. And our application has been accepted in the category Aspire for Top Scientists. And the corresponding research field is AI and Information. And the partner countries include France, Italy, the Netherlands, and Sweden. And the support scale is up to 380 million Japanese yen, and the period of support is 5 years. Okay, let me explain our Aspire project. The title is Aspire CPDS, and this is an abbreviated form of building a mathematical foundation for cyber physical dynamical systems, interdisciplinary research and human resource development on control with prediction and learning. And main members include myself, Professor Hideaki Ishii from the University of Tokyo, Masaaki Nagahara from Hiroshima University, and Dimitri Posel, who is a PI of Team France, Carl-Henrik Johansson, PI, the Team Sweden, Maurice Himmels, PI, the Netherlands, and Fabrizio Da Bene, PI, the Team Italy. And the research period is from December 2024 to March 2030. So the project has already started, and we are moving on. And in this research project, we focus on cyber physical dynamical systems, CPDS. And as you know, a cyber physical system, a complex engineering system that link physical real world space with cyberspace by sensing and control. And as you can see in this figure, a cyber physical system can be regarded as a feedback system with physical and cyberspaces. And since almost all systems involved are dynamical systems, it is quite important to take care of system dynamics. Therefore, we call this system as cyber physical dynamical system. And control engineering is a discipline to deal with dynamical systems. And against this background, the goal of this research is building a mathematical foundation for CPDS by control researchers. We focus on control, prediction, and learning. And in particular, the goals of research in line with the Aspire spirit are building sustainable international collaborations in the related research field, and nurture and mobilize future research leaders. And this figure shows concrete research topics in Aspire CPDS. The research topics include reliability verification of AI, CPD security, sparse modeling, control over network, data-driven control, and robust control. And we will carry out these studies on the basis of our past dense collaborations. For instance, I have collaboration with Dimitri Purcell, PI Team France, over past 25 years, and we made more than 40 publications. And this collaboration is an important basis in building broad international research collaborations in Aspire CPDS. I next explain our plan for building sustainable collaboration. We split our research period into 3 phases. Phase 1 has passed, and we have already arrived at stage 1, where uniform and dense relationship among PIs has been established. And to arrive at this stage in phase 1, we held a face-to-face meeting and several online meetings among PIs. Then in phase 2, we aim to arrive at stage 2, where future leaders establish an international network under our network. And to that end, in phase 2, we've held workshops and summer schools organized by future leaders. Then, in phase 3, we aim to arrive at stage 3, where future leaders establish a unique top international research network, and this will continue to be passed on to the next generation, whereby a sustainable research network has been established. I next move on to our plan for nurturing and mobilizing future research leaders. We achieve this objective by extensive international circulation of young researchers. So each year from Japan, we are planning to send 2 to 3 researchers for 1-year stay to European teams, and 4 to 5 researchers for 6-month stay. On the other hand, from European teams, each year to Japan, we will invite each year to Japan 3 researchers for 2 to 3 months stay from each team. So we will accept 12 young researchers per year, and 1 for Kyushu University, 1 for the University of Tokyo, and 1 for Hiroshima University. And what is important here is that every travel expense is fully covered by Aspire CPDS. And let me explain concrete plan for exchanging researchers in the fiscal year 2025. And from Japan to European countries, Kana Shikada, doctor course student of Kyushu Tech, is visiting France. Takumi Iwata, an assistant professor of Hiroshima University, is visiting France. Kaito Ito, assistant professor of the University of Tokyo, is visiting to Sweden. Daichi Tanaka, a doctor course student of Science Tokyo, is visiting to Italy. Iori Takagi, a master course student of Science Tokyo, is visiting to the Netherlands. On the other hand, from European countries to Japan, the members are now under adjustment and to be fixed soon. To summarize, our Aspire CPDS is an international research project with Japan, France, Sweden, Italy, and the Netherlands. And in this research project, we aim at building mathematical foundation for CPDS. And we study topics related to control, prediction, and learning. And the goals in line with the Aspire spirit are to generate Japanese researchers who lead international network and to establish sustainable international network originating from Aspire CPDS. And from a research perspective, our ultimate goal is the creation of new science, mathematics for CPDS. That's all. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
I would like to thank Professor Ebihara for his contribution and introducing this very interesting project about mathematical foundation for cyber-physical dynamical systems. We are going to proceed with a materials project titled Creating 3D Terahertz Metamaterials through the combination of laser microprocessing and carbon materials. The participating professors who will be our speakers today are Kuniaki Konishi, Associate Professor, Graduate School of Science, Institute for Photon Science and Technology at the University of Tokyo. And his colleague, Juri Svirko, Professor at Department of Physics and Mathematics at the University of Eastern Finland. This project was funded by Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, besides the Aspire program. Professors, please go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you for the introduction. I'm Kuniaki Konishi from the University of Tokyo. First, we appreciate the opportunity to introduce our project here. Today, together with Professor Shubriko, my reading collaborator, introduce the Aspire project. My reading collaborator in Europe, and I will introduce the Aspire project for the rising scientist. This project is closely linked to the Horizon 2020 led by Professor Shubriko, so he will also provide an overview of that project in the later part of this presentation. First, I'd like to introduce my background briefly. I entered the University of Tokyo and graduated from the Department of Applied Physics. After completing my master's thesis, I worked for 2 years at the NTT Photonics Laboratories in Atsugi, which is one of the largest fundamental research centers of private companies in Japan. Then I returned to the university and completed my PhD under the supervision of the Professor Makoto Kuwata-Gonokami. And when I was a postdoctoral student, I had the opportunity to meet Professor Shubriko, thanks to my supervisor, and we had been collaborating so far. And afterwards, I worked as an assistant professor in his laboratory, and since 2021, I have been leading my own research group as an associate professor in the Institute of Photon Science and Technology in the University of Tokyo. Okay, in my laboratory, we host students from the Department of Physics at the University of Tokyo. Currently, our research group consists of one assistant professor and 2 researchers and 3 graduate students. And also, the Dr. Kanda has joined us in this project as a Japanese researcher. Okay, I will introduce the main research topic of my group. I have been researching technologies for controlling light using artificial nanostructure, which is called the metamaterials. In addition to make the metamaterials, we also have been developing a fabrication technology for micro and nanostructures. To fabricate such extremely small structure, lithography technique is conventionally used, but I'm also developing a technology to make a 3-dimensional microstructure by using laser processing and 3D printing technology. In addition, I'm investigating the mechanism of laser ablation for the progress of the laser processing technology. And as fundamental technologies for these researches, we are also developing the advanced spectroscopic technique such as terahertz spectroscopy and ultrafast spectroscopy. Now, I will briefly explain the concept of metamaterial, which plays a crucial role in our research project. An optical response of bulk materials are determined by the response of the atoms and molecules to the electromagnetic wave. The size of such atoms and molecules is much smaller than the wavelength of light, so the optical response of a bulk material can be described by such effective parameters such as permeability or permeability or refractive index. And it has thought that they do not change in each materials. However, due to the progress of nanofabrication technology, it becomes possible to make the structure which size is much smaller than the optical wavelengths, and such nanoscale artificial nanostructures work as the artificial atoms and molecules to the right. So thus, by controlling the shape of such artificial structure, we can flexibly design and control the optical response of the artificial materials. And such concept is called metamaterials. And in such research field is about 20 years ago. And in this project, we've also focused on the metamaterial. We focused on the metamaterial operating in the terahertz frequency region. Terahertz waves generally correspond to the wavelength electromagnetic waves with a frequency of about 0.1 terahertz to 10 terahertz, which wavelength is correspond to around several hundred micrometers. Its application is imaging and spectroscopy has been long studied, and in recent years, the application in radio astronomy and the next generation wireless communication, which is called Beyond 5G or 6Z, are the very important research topics. The importance of terahertz metamaterial has been increasing in recent years to enable terahertz optical component for diverse applications. In our ASPIRE project, we aim to develop novel three-dimensional terahertz metamaterials by integrating laser-based fabrication technique with the carbon materials. We have been investigating in our laboratory the fabrication of the terahertz metamaterial using ultra-fast laser processing technique instead of conventional lithography technique. Since the beam spot size of the typical laser processing machine is around 10 micrometer, it is well suitable for the fabrication of terahertz metamaterials whose wavelengths are on the order of the several hundred microns. Using this approach, we have successfully fabricated such MOS-I anti-reflection structures on sapphire or silicon consisting of sub-millimeter scale pyramid arrays, achieving broadband perfect transmission property in the sub-terahertz or terahertz frequency region. Additionally, recently have realized metal lens fabrication based on the periodic hole structures in silicon by using such ultra-fast laser processing technique. And based on such achievement in this ASPIRE project, we aim to integrate this dielectric terahertz metamaterials platform with a carbon-based coating that exhibit quasi-metallic properties. By combining these techniques, we seek to develop new novel terahertz metamaterials with a lot of new functionalities. Okay, specifically, we aim to realize a perfect terahertz absorber by applying the carbon technology to the MOS-I structure fabricating in our laboratory. This coating process utilizes pyrolytic carbon deposition via chemical vapor deposition technique. This technique that has been extensively developed in the laboratory of the Professor Yuri Shevchenko, our international collaborator. In wireless communication application, increased noise due to the shattering wave is one of the problem, and it is expected to be used as an anti-reflection material to reduce them. To increase for the structural design of the metamaterials, and additionally, we collaborate terahertz for broadband terahertz spectroscopy and titration. We will work closely with our research partner in Dr. Kanda in Britain and Japan. So this result is we performed in this 1 year, and we it's a very good progress. And now we are also ready to submit our first paper. Another research direction focusing on the laser processing inside the glass. In this project, we will cooperate with Professor Kazansky, Peter Kazansky from the through-hole in glass. By coating this structure with carbon, we aim to develop a broadband circular polarizer characterized material control device. Such device holds a promise for the wireless communication application where they can be utilized to generate a circular polarized wave, helping to reduce the polarization dependence in the signal transmission. Okay, so as I have already explained, this super project will be carried out in the collaboration with my group and these 3 European groups. As Professor Subriko will explain, these members are originally members of the Horizon 2020. The super project is fully funded regardless of its duration to facilitate the exchange of the researchers between these groups. And the super project only started 1 year ago, but during this time, many young researchers have been exchanged, as shown here. The last spring, we visited the 3 countries, and also the Professor Subriko stayed in the early summer last year. And from our laboratory, young researchers is visited to the Professor Subriko's group also 1 month. And also my PhD student is also stayed in Southampton for 3 months. And also last summer, we accept 4 researchers and the student from the course in the Greece. So I think this is we are very enhance our the acceleration of our collaboration based on the Aspire project. So now Professor Subriko will go on to explain the Horizon 2020, the inspiration for the Aspire project. So please start the talk, the Professor Subriko.
Oops. Thank you, Kuniaki. So it's my great pleasure to take part in this meeting. Partially it's because I was a member of a RATA project, of GST RATA project, Collective Excitation Semiconductors, led by Professor Ganakami in 1998 and until 2001. So it was a long time ago. But actually the participation in this project was a great experience for me, and I'm very grateful for GST and Professor Ganakami for this opportunity. And actually since 2001, I hold professorship at the University of Eastern Finland. And of course, we continue joint research with the University of Tokyo. In particular, I was, as Kuniaki already mentioned, I was involved in on his PhD studies in around 2008. And actually, most of my PhD students from Finland were staying for some time, usually several months, to take part in the research activity at the University of Tokyo. And actually, since 2001, I am professor at the Institute of Photonic Sciences at the University of Eastern Finland in Vienna. So it's a small but very beautiful city in Eastern Finland, and actually the most eastern European Union university campus, actually. And we are dealing with advanced nanofabrication and nanophotonics facilities and involved in many national and European research projects. I should say that our graduates, we're still a small university, but are employed in many research and industrial organizations worldwide. So our research activity is based on the focuses on the different photonics materials, and we work a lot with we work with different, first of all, low-dimensional materials like graphene, and more now involved in the various applications in terahertz frequency range. And this is the essential part of our activity recently, which is, as I said, already based on the cooperation with Professor Kanishi. In particular, we, for example, developed by working, I would say, on the flexible metal surfaces based on graphene. And this research was part of the extensive research project funded by European Union in the framework of the Horizon 2020 program. The project is called Chiral Metamaterials for Terahertz Polarization Control, the doubled as Chartist. So the project was granted in 2019, so it's still Horizon 2020 program, and it's Marie Curie Action, which supports the research and innovation exchange. This includes both cross-border exchange with set countries like United States, for example, and Japan, and cross-sectoral exchange between academy and industry within Europe. I should say that unfortunately the project experienced a lot of difficulties because of COVID. It started just at the same time as all borders were closed in 2020. And actually, of course, it was also affected by recent turbulence, ongoing turbulence in Europe. However, we already overcome these troubles, and I'm sure that we will be able to implement the project as planned. Currently, the project is involved 5 academic and 4 industrial teams from European Union and 2 partners from said countries, including Professor Kanishi team from the University of Tokyo. So we have extensive exchange in both within European Union and with University of Tokyo team, and actually already did a lot of research focused on the various terahertz applications, including the fabrication and characterization of various materials and using them for development prototypes of terahertz devices. So I'm sure that the project will last for 1 more year, and it will be implemented as planned by the 1st of April 2026. Thank you, and I will give my talk to.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Sebriko. So this is the last slide with a summary of my presentation. Is as Professor Sebriko said, we already have the very strong network based on the Horizon to 2020, but because of the resistance of the Aspire, I succeeded to enhance and strengthen the relationship between the European country. Aspire can support the budget from Japan to European countries, and also we can accept the very not depend on the period of the time. So we can also support a very short visit or short outgoing. It can be also supported by Aspire. So this project is very complementary and effectively work. So I believe these 2 projects strengthen the cooperation between Japan and Europe in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the very extensive and interesting presentation about your project.
Thank you.
After this very important materials project, we will have yet another in the same genre, titled Development of Highly Efficient Luminescent Dendrimer Materials for Sustainable Light-Emitting Devices. Our speakers are Ken Albrecht, Associate Professor at the Institute for Materials Chemistry and Engineering, Kyushu University, and Ruben Costa, Professor and Chair of Biogenic Functional Materials at the Technical University of Munich. The funding came from ERC to support the European side, and again from Aspire to finance the Japanese side. Professors, if you could please proceed with your presentations. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the introduction. I'm Ken Albrecht from Kyushu University, the third one from Kyushu University, I think. I think Kyushu University is very active in international collaboration. And for me, it's the first time for attending this kind of meeting. And I really want to share my background or how I end up in this kind of Aspire program and not explain too much about science, but yeah, I want to share my experience. And before that, I just want to give a brief self-introduction. Probably you could guess from my name. I am actually half a German. My father comes from Germany. So I was born in Germany, but soon I moved to US. And in most of my life, I grew up in Japan, in the Japanese education system. And during my doctor period, I had a very short stay in US for research, but except that, also during my assistant professor period, I didn't have really an opportunity to stay abroad. But during my career, I had some opportunity to attend the Lindau meeting. Maybe many people know about it. It's a meeting where young scientists meet the Nobel laureates, and the Hope meeting is an Asian version. So in general, I really like to discuss or talk with other kind of young scientists and interdisciplinary stuff. So after I moved to Kyushu University as a PI, I really wanted to start some international collaboration, especially with Europe, because I had have some roots in Germany. And here's also another self-introduction slide, what our lab is doing or my research. In general, I am a synthetic organic chemist, and we are developing something like luminescent materials or functional materials. And recently, we are working a lot with luminescent material for OLEDs or laser application. So my international collaboration are usually done in the manner that I, develop or synthesize new materials, and the counterpart makes a device or maybe some in-depth photophysical or kind of physical measurements. And yeah, this is how I am doing the international or even national collaborations. After I moved to Kyushu University, actually my first opportunity for the international collaboration was, I think, this Sentan-Q program. I think this program is not so familiar. This is a Kyushu University's original program funded by MEXT. And it's a diversity and super global training program for female and young faculty. And this program gives kind of training program for young faculties. And you can learn about like governance, DEI, and also how to teach and these kind of things. Usually in Japanese universities, we don't have these kind of opportunities to have training, but Kyushu University have this kind of program. And in this program, step 4 means just one of the program in this. They required me to teach my international student under the mentorship of a foreign professor. And in this project, I asked Andy Monkman from UK to be the mentor, and I had an opportunity to learn how to teach or treat my international student. And in another step, they required me to go abroad and give some lectures and also teach or do some collaboration with a foreign student. And I asked for this mentorship to Ruben Costa in TU Munich. And yeah, we had some international collaboration. And I think, this project required me to travel to Europe and have some collaboration. But not only that, they also required really to publish some paper, having some results. And this was, I think, good for having the next funding. And during the Sentan-Q program, I also decided to apply to the JSPS Kakenhi. This is not JSP, but probably before someone introduced about it. In the Kakenhi program, they also have an international collaboration funding, a personal one for me. And I decided to apply with an European counterpart group, with again the Andy Monkman group, Ruben Costa, and also a Polish professor, Jacek Ulansky, for a printable kind of OLED devices. And through this funding scheme, of course, I split it in few times, but in total, I stayed in 6 months or so in each in these labs, and also I could send 2 students. And at the end of this project, I really wanted to expand this network and this kind of research, so I decided to apply to Aspire. This funding scheme just started, and I was adopted last year. And in this Aspire project, we have actually 5 PIs. One is me, another is Takuya Hosokai from AIST, and one Professor Sato, who can do quantum chemical calculation. Takuya is more at the measurement side, photophysics. So I synthesize and Takuya can measure, and Professor Sato does some quantum chemical calculations. And the counterpart, Andy Monkman, is also photophysics, more measurement person. And Ruben is more at the device side. He can fabricate some light emitting devices. So this is the whole team that is now moving the Aspire project. And in the Aspire project, we basically aim to fabricate some sustainable, I would say, light emitting devices. Probably everyone is familiar with some OLED, organic light emitting diodes, and maybe your smartphone display is already OLED, but we try to make them more cheap, printed, and maybe on a flexible device. Anyway, in a sustainable way, we want to fabricate some light emitting devices through this Aspire project. And a bit going in the detail of our international exchange and international collaboration project. In this project, we have, as I mentioned before, 5 PIs, 7 scientists, which means PhD holders, and 12 students are listed. And in total, we are planning about 22 months stay in Europe, which means Japanese students or researchers will go to Europe for 22 months in total. And we're also planning to invite students and also PIs for 14 months to Japan. And this project is a 3-year project, so every year we are planning to have a workshop. Actually, already 1 year has finished, and we have already a lot of progress. And for example, last year we had a workshop in Munich at Ruben's lab. We invited 6 speakers from Europe out of the Aspire project. 8 Japanese participants went to there, and we had really fruitful discussion. And also after this workshop, we also attended a large international conference in Dresden. So we are really fully using this opportunity and funding of Aspire to foster young scientists and also have a lot of international collaboration. And here is the final slide, just a conclusion and maybe a message. In my case, I didn't have really an opportunity during my career to stay abroad, but I really realized that staying in another lab or your collaborator's lab helps to deepen your international collaboration. But in the Japanese system, sometimes for young scientists, it's difficult to have a 1-year sabbatical or those kind of things. But nowadays, in the Kakenhi project, or maybe if you're involved in the Aspire project, we have quite large amount of funding, and maybe you can replace yourself or have help by hiring some postdoc or maybe some administrative staffs. 1 year sabbatical might be not realistic for the Japanese side researchers, but you can split them like in 2 to 3 months each time. And also now you can like manage your group or students through online or these kind of Zoom tools these days. And I believe that now these kind of things are possible, and especially for the young scientists or the rising scientists, I hope that they challenge to get this kind of wonderful Aspire project or other kind of also Horizon projects, and try to apply and maybe be adapted. Okay, and I think Ruben, are you here? He is today out of the
Yes,
office,
I'm
I
here.
heard, and maybe he
Yeah,
can
I'm-
give a short remarks.
I'm very sorry. I see a lot of German colleagues. We are now the Kinderferien. We are in holidays for kids. But this is also to show you the commitment to the Aspire. Few remarks, 2 minutes to say 1 or 2 words about the collaboration with Ken, with Professor Albrecht, has been fueled by the commitment of all the 3 of us to share. First, molecules, obviously. This is the first time that I met him as an assistant professor, and he was very willing to share the molecules. We test them, it worked beautifully. Within the project, these kind of materials, the dendrimers that we are using, they are very interesting on the LEC technology, because this technology is aiming for moderate performance, with a very cheap processing. This is basically with the spray coatings. So basically we're looking for dim light illuminations, for decorations, for signaling. So this is not competing to OLEDs, this is clear, but it could be a very cheap solution for spraying, washing, and then reapplying again. And that materials actually are fulfilling very nice all the requirements that we need. So we need to explore different colors. And on top of that, we also have some challenges that is only possible if we are sharing students. And actually, I already have the pleasure to host 2 students from Ken's lab in my group, 1 postdoc, 1 PhD. Now Ken should have one of my students there. Didn't say anything, so it's supposed that she arrived well. And that's the beautiful thing of this spirit that the Aspire is giving us, because then we can move on with the things. We already have here. You have a yellow picture, but actually we already have the blue. That is working. We are trying to work on the red colors, which is obviously more and more challenging for the luminescent part. And we are doing also hybrid materials with protein and dendrimers, which is very challenging. And there is also where Professor Monkman is helping us to design well the luminescent materials. So all in all, this project is a beautiful example to the new generations to exchange and how fruitful can be this science even when you are overseas, so 1,000 kilometers. And actually, well, I don't want to take more time because already can make a beautiful presentation, but just to tell you that we can talk anyway in 2 weeks, where I will be in the Aspire meeting in Tokyo, and I'm looking forward to continue with these kind of programs. So thank you very much, and I'm sorry again for the microphones up with the family around.
Okay, thank you, Ruben. And from our project, this is all.
Thank you so much. Again, very extensive presentation about your project. Thank you for joining while you have busy schedules, holidays with kids, and so on. Much appreciated, truly. We have reached the almost final stage of our event. I would like to invite the speakers to come back and answer some questions that are in the Q&A box. Takei-san, you have 1, 2, 3 questions lined up. So I believe you will be the first to respond to the queries. The first question.
Yes.
In Aspire alignment projects, Turkey is not listed as a country. Is Turkey included in the EU, or EU is intended in general as existent Horizon project? That's the first query.
Okay, thank you so much. So I shown the slides of the eligible countries for the Aspire program. Actually, Turkey is not the part of the category, and considering that the Turkey is not officially the member country of the EU, in this case, it will not be able to funded by the Aspire. But if you are a researcher in Turkey funded by any other funding agency in Turkey, say TÜBİTAK or any private funding agency, it is eligible to apply for this Aspire program. In the whole text of the Aspire that is now on the website, it is segregated. There are two criteria for these the eligible country. One is that the counterpart researchers is also already been receiving research support from funding agency in their country listed in the slide I showed, and also they are planning to get supports from their counterpart funding agency. So if it is decided that you are going to receive the fund from their countries but funding agency, then they are eligible to apply for the Aspire.
Thank you very much. The second question. Currently, there are 3 bilateral Aspire projects. There is a plan to open, is there a plan to open more of them?
Yes, so I think this is, we need to define the word here. So projects mean the research activities that is funded by the Aspire program. So I think you meant the research programs. There are 3 current research programs open for the application. But we have actually conducted joint calls with US, UK, and Germany. And now we're going to open another one with Netherlands in spring this year. I cannot share the details for the next year plan, but there is a possibility to open another call with other funding agencies. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And the next query. Thank you for these insightful presentations. I have a more general question. I'm a researcher at the Technical University of Munich, planning collaborations with Kyoto University on the topic of Society 5.0. In this case, beyond the technology development aspect of research, societal questions are crucial too. Could an exploration of societal aspects be funded as well, or does the research need to be exclusively focused on hard sciences? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your question. So as I talked in my presentation, there are 7 fields in Aspire: AI, information, biotech, energy materials, quantum, semiconductor, and telecommunication. And your question is whether the societal aspects or societal social science can be funded by this project. The answer will be if the societal area, social science area, is integrated in one of these either categories, then it is you can apply for this Aspire program. For example, there is one project that supports human-centered AI. There's if there's this integration of a hard science and social science, then it is eligible.
Thank you so much. The next question, again to you, how is considered to implement the Aspire funding projects, the stringent role of the Export Control Office in Japan? It has becoming very difficult to have research projects fully approved by export control offices of Japanese universities, send samples abroad, invite colleagues from abroad to Japan, etc. Is JST planning to facilitate these aspects?
Yes, maybe it is difficult to explain by what you mean by the facilitating the this aspect, but I'm looking at the core text of the Aspire, and it is specified that the Aspire will follow the rule of like in Japan foreign exchange law. So if any of the technologies or objects are listed in this law, then it would be like there's a high possibility of rejection in Aspire program. So I will recommend you to look at the core text that is now on the website, and also follow the foreign exchange law in Japan.
Yeah, Take-san is right. And JST, I'm sorry to say that, but JST is not, maybe not facilitating something for the export control. And basically, universities are in charge of dealing with that kind of issue. Yeah.
Thank you. This is our manager, Mutsukoya staff from our planning team in our department. Thank you so much.
Thank you, both of you, and again, welcome Mutsuko Yasuda, manager at the International Department of JST. The next query goes to Fumiko Oda. I would like to ask if Japan will be an associated country on the Horizon Europe program.
So yes, I would like to say yes, but then this is under negotiation. The negotiation started just back in December of 2024. Being in the final negotiation pretty much means that Japanese government is positively looking into the possibility of association, but answer has not been yet made. I think there are several issues that both government has still discuss financial parts, the practical parts, the legal parts. There are lots of things to still negotiate about, and I know it is quite taking time comparing to the other countries in the third countries like such as Canada or the South Korea. But I think for Japanese government to continue negotiating in the positive side of Horizon Europe, I think we just need a little bit more time to decide. I'm sorry, I cannot say this is yes, but yes, certainly it's still going on negotiation. Thank you.
Thank you for the response. And the next question again goes to Takei-san. Do you have a plan to expand the countries involved and to increase the research fields on the Aspire?
Well, actually, the research area and the eligible partner countries are determined by our cabinet office. So it is actually the decision by our cabinet office. Actually, JST cannot take care of it. So it would be so if the government decision with direction changes, then it is possible that the eligible partners will increase. But I cannot really say at the moment, so that would be my answer.
Thank you. And the next query goes to Professor Konishi and Professor Svirko. If possible, I would like to ask about staff mobility between Japan and other partners under the MSCA RISE, the number, fund, opportunity, etc.
Is it okay to share my slide? Sorry, this may be the answer of this question. Can you see this slide? Sorry, it's in the Japanese, but I summarize the just 1 year's exchange between the Horizon European members and our members. In this case, at first I and with one researcher and 2 students visit very quickly, and also 3 Finland and Greece, UK country, and Professor Shiburiko visit Japan 2 weeks, and the summer my student visit 3 weeks to the Finland group, and also some of the 4 postdocs are from Greece, a team to visit to my laboratory 4 weeks and 2 weeks. And also in the last autumn, my PhD student visited the United Kingdom for 3 months, and I accept from the postdoc and also the professor Brico 1 month and 2 weeks. This is an example of the last year's exchange. And also this year I'm planning to more longer stay. In my case, from my assistant professor will stay in United Kingdom 1 year. And also I'm accepting the postdoc researcher from the Subricos group from last December to about 6 months. This is our current situation. I hope this becomes the answer to your question. Do you have any comment, Professor Subricos? Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We shall proceed with the questions and answers. The next one again goes to Takei-san. When are the joint calls, including more countries within the EU, are going to be announced?
Yes, so it is under discussion, including whether the joint call with EU will be conducted in the future. We now have the pre-announcement for the Japan and Netherlands joint call, but for information on the future joint calls, please stay tuned on our website. And if there are pre-announcements, JST will let it displayed on the website. So, yes.
Thank you. The next question, what are the conditions for the Aspire joint calls? Again, this is directed to you.
Yes, so you are asking about the scheme of the joint call. So in joint call, actually, so in case of alignment call, the eligible country is very open as long as the partner countries are listed in the as listed in the list of the partner countries. In case of alignment call, we actually coordinate with our funding agency before the launch of the call. We decide on the specific timing, the budget scale, and the specific research area. Talking about the condition, so it will be very a narrow topic because we do the pre-coordination with our funding agency from the partner country. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation. Is our understanding right that for an Aspire joint call with the UK, 70% of the funding needs to be allocated to an academic institution in the UK and educational purposes? So are they right in assuming that?
Yes. Well, the number 70% stays true in joint call as well. So we ask researchers, funded researchers, to allocate 70% of their direct expense from Aspire for talent exchange or fostering young researchers, such as dispatching or inviting researchers or holding workshop and symposium, or any coordination fee that occur from these kind of mobility actions.
Thank you. And there are some questions in the chat. Can social scientists such as legal scholars or sociologists benefit from Aspire?
Well, I think that depends on the projects, what kind of projects the Aspire they are conducting. But if there's an integrate like a cross-disciplinary collaboration in Aspire projects, there is a chance that illegal scholars or social scientists benefit from this program. But I would like to point out that we fund projects in the 7 scientific fields. So I need you to consider how social science aspect can be integrated in one of these hard science areas.
Thank you very much. And the last question, can we expect a call not for specific countries, but the EU as a whole. It's from one of our speakers.
EU as a whole. Okay, so well, in case there's a country, like researcher from country that is not specified in the list, but it is also a part of EU, then in our call text, we ask those researchers to contact to Aspire team in JST. So in this is if this is the case for you, I recommend contacting our Aspire group. For example, like even though you're from country that is not listed in the Aspire country list, but it also a part of EU, then please contact our Aspire team for more information.
Thank you very much. That concludes our Q&A session. We truly appreciate the questions and the excellent answers. If you have any more queries, please submit them via email, or you can reach us on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and we will forward your questions to the speakers today. We have reached the final section of our webinar, and the closing remarks will be delivered by our ambassador, Jean-Éric Paquet, the Embassy of the European Union to Japan.
Good afternoon. I'm really happy to be able to say a few words as you close your afternoon's work. Thank you very much to Euraccess for setting up this great opportunity for European and Japanese scientists to exchange and see how they can best cooperate to ensure that we work together more closely than ever. I'm particularly happy that Maria Leptin, the head of the European Research Council, was also there to share the successes and the success stories under the European Research Council, what I call sometimes Europe's Nobel Prize factory. Indeed, I think Europe is available and keen to work with Japan. We are scientific powerhouses. I think, are well aware of that on both sides. I think we are also very complementary in terms of our scientific culture and our excellence, which sometimes overlap, but mostly, I think, is complementary. And this is where, be it with Horizon Europe in the past, today, but very much when Japan becomes an associated member of Horizon Europe, we can do more together. I invite as many scientists in Japan as possible to look into topics in the Horizon Europe. Your university, your research institute can be part of the program. Again, when associated, it will of course be even easier, and be part of these consortia which deliver cutting-edge scientific outcomes under key topics which often reflect the key priorities of Japan and the European Union, be it for our transformations or in many areas of economic security, for example, on advanced materials. But Horizon Europe, and very much Aspire, is also very much about the mobility of scientists. So beyond these consortia-driven research, there's also a number of schemes where you can work across Japan and Europe. And of course, one particularly exciting one is the European Research Council. And here also, I'm very pleased to see that so many ERC grantees were present today. The European Research Council teams, under the leadership of these grantees, are always very keen to welcome Japanese scientists. You know that we have an agreement with the JST and also AMED and JSPS, under which any of you can decide for a year to join a European Research Council principal investigator. And every year we ask those grantees whether they would be interested, and hundreds of them say, yes, of course, we'd be so keen to have a 4-year Japanese scientist joining the team. So you are welcome, feel welcome, and I hope that very many of you will be able to use that opportunity and the many more which will open soon when the accession to Horizon Europe has been negotiated successfully and is in place. With that, thank you again for your presence today and your interest, and I wish you successful cooperations across Europe and Japan.
Thank you, Ambassador Paquet, for the enlightening words at the end of our webinar. And with this, we would like to conclude today's event. I would like to express our gratitude to our co-organizers and our esteemed speakers, those who attended from Europe, Japan, and all over the world. The recording of this webinar will be made available on YouTube, so should you be curious about particular details, please check out our channel at a later date. I would like to thank you for your time today and wish you goodbye.